All right, I'm going to start off with my prepared remarks. So here we go. Hello, everybody. It's wonderful to see 25 people online at the moment, 26. That's great. It's my tremendous pleasure to welcome you all here to this 13th International Conference on Austroasiatic Linguistics. Now, we've allocated this first half hour for the opening session, so we have plenty of time for people to join and to sort out any little technical issues, hopefully, before we kick off with the first presentation. So I have several issues to run through here, but while I'm giving my remarks, if anyone has any questions or anything they'd like me to address before we start, you can put remarks in the chat box. So feel free to do that at any time. So first of all, I'd like to thank everybody who's put in an abstract for this meeting and otherwise expressed support and interest for ICAAL. We're a small conference and we have a somewhat precarious history. So everybody's participation and contribution is very much appreciated, and I mean that very much. And also, in that context, I'd like to just make a quick statement about the fact that we changed the format for this meeting. Originally, we did propose to have a hybrid on-site meeting in Udon. The decision ultimately was made by Matthias and myself in July that we would abandon that and go to a full online meeting. And I express my sincere apologies to our colleagues at Udon who were preparing to host on-site. But the problem was that by the end of June, as the abstract deadline approached, it was clear that only about a third of people had expressed interest in an on-site attendance. And given experience with the fact that there's always some people who have to drop out for various external reasons, we thought we'd be lucky to get 10 people on site, and we didn't think that was viable. In fact, since July, we have had 5 people whose abstracts were approved, who subsequently did drop out for various reasons, including teaching clashes, travel clashes, and in a couple of cases, illnesses. So this is what happens with meetings, and we can talk more about that in the business meeting on Friday, if you'd like to do that. Another thing regarding meeting status, we do have a serious proposal for an on-site meeting in Saigon in Vietnam for next year, and Din Lu Zhang will speak to that at the business meeting. So I just foreshadow that now. Notwithstanding that proposal, we do need on Friday to talk through what our intentions are going forward, because year to year, as I say, it's a bit precarious. And if we can have more of a discussion about how we would like to see ICAAL meetings proceeding in future, that would be really useful. So how the meeting will run today, I expect it should run pretty much the same as the online ICAALs we had in 2021, 22, and 23. These were the meetings hosted by Lund, by Living Tongues, and by Chiang Mai. These ran quite smoothly. I hope we can do it again. We will follow the program as it is on the website. I think it's better, even if any people do drop out, that we just stick to the times that are on the advertised program so that we don't disrupt anybody's planning, and we'll just proceed on that basis. One difference between this and previous online meetings is that we're using Google Meet instead of Zoom. I hope that the presenters are familiar enough with Google Meet that we can all deal with the interface. I have a little experience with it, but I still do myself get a little flustered from time to time. So, you know, we all have to be a bit patient. But we had experience using Google Meet with ICAALs this year, and I think we should be fine, more or less, especially given that it's a very small meeting. Of course, speaking times will be 20 minutes for each presentation, followed by discussion. I asked that during presentations, everybody keeps their microphones muted. And at any time, if you have questions you want to put in the discussion time, put those questions into the chat box, and then whoever's chairing the session can follow the chat and then manage the questions from the chat box. And then during the discussion time, if there's still time, well, they can use their discretion to manage the discussion as they see fit. And it's my intention to also record all the sessions and create an online archive of both recordings and also PDFs of people's slides. Now, if you want to nominate to opt out of recording, of course, let me know. Also, I can very easily simply delete recordings after the meeting if you also change your mind and don't want to have your recording presented. Certainly, that's easier for me to keep track of than trying to turn the recording on and off during the meeting. But of course, at any time, let me know. And I will circulate a notice at the end, just asking people to send PDFs of their presentations. Again, you don't have to, but it would be nice to have complete documentation of the meetings. So are there any practical questions about the conduct of the program at this point?
So far, so good.
Are there any questions or comments? No? No, I can't hear anything. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing on my list here. So I am very pleased to be able to announce that we have published our second memorial volume, Austroasiatic Studies in memory of Michel Ferlus. And I would like to hand over to Matthias at this point to show us the volume and to say a couple of remarks.
Thanks, Paul. Yes, I'm really happy to hold this book in hands now. We got it printed a couple of weeks ago in Chiang Mai. It covers 13 chapters, very different chapters, but they make a very nice complete volume. It's about the same size as last year's Difflot volume, 250 pages about, with some color pages, photos of Michel Ferlus inside. So yeah, I'm really happy to have this in hand, and I hope we can do more of these in the future. All contributors will receive their hard copies within a few days or weeks. We shipped the volumes to all contributors and people who ordered the book through the website a few days ago. So you should get them pretty soon. If anyone else wants to order the book, Paul has the details about this. And the PDF will also be available on the ICAAL website one of these days, I guess.
Oh, thanks, Matthias. So regarding buying the physical book, so some of you, when you paid your registration, elected to purchase copies for $20. Those are going out, as Matthias just said. Additionally, if you now wish to purchase a hard copy, we will sell out the rest of the print run at $30 a volume, and that's posted to anywhere in the world. If you don't require a physical volume, of course, the ebook version will go online probably in November on the ICAAL website, and you'll be able to obtain that ebook for free. Now, so we now have established a sort of mini tradition, right, with ICAAL, with these tribute volumes. It's a regrettable but inevitable fact that our older colleagues will be passing away from time to time, and the generation that started ICAAL with the first meeting that began in Hawaii in January 1973, they're now it's now more than 50 years, and they're coming to the end of their lives, and it was a matter of great regret that a couple of original ICAALers, Ken and Marilyn Gregerson, recently passed away. Marilyn Gregerson passed in the end of last year, and then Ken passed in June of this year. In fact, not only were the Gregersons good friends of mine, I stayed with them in Albuquerque from time to time, but we, for the last decade, had been working on bringing their dictionary and grammar of Rengao to publication in the Brill Grammars and Sketches of Languages of the World series. And in fact, the very week we finalized the manuscript was the week that Ken passed away in June. I had hoped to be able to present that book at this meeting, but it's in typesetting with Brill at the moment, and it'll probably come out with a 2026 imprint. So I would like to foreshadow now that at the business meeting, I will propose that I would be happy to edit a third volume in this series, wishing to dedicate it to Ken and Marilyn Gregerson, and I would just foreshadow that now, and we'll discuss that concretely in the business meeting on Friday. Okay, so yeah, we have some background noise. If people could mute their microphones when not talking, that'd be great. So, but how far we go on with this volume series, again, that's a matter for discussion at the business meeting. I'd appreciate it if I had more editorial help going forward, and I'd just like you, all of you, just to think about it, if you could play a role in that, and we can talk about it on Friday. Now, the other thing about the business meeting that will wrap up this conference on Friday afternoon is not just the organisation of the meetings going forward, but also our committee, the so-called continuity group that we've been running since 2013. So I was very happy that Nathaniel was nominated to join that group last year, bringing new blood in, and I'd like to see some more active participation by younger scholars. Matthias and I have been taking the lead on ensuring the continuity of the meetings for the last 12 years. And you know, we're aging into other activities and interests as well as ICAAL. So you know, if we could have a bit of a discussion also Friday about other people taking on roles in the committee, you know, that would be really positive. Matthias, did you want to say anything about that?
I think we can leave that to the business meeting for details, but it's good to foreshadow at the moment that Paul and I have been thinking about gradually handing over to a new generation the responsibilities of the continuity of this meeting. But I hope we'll have a few minutes at the business meeting for concrete plans, concrete discussions.
Thanks. Yeah, I just sorry, my voice is getting very croaky, so I just have to be a bit careful with my voice. But I think it's a very important issue, and the whole thing about the kind of meetings we want to have. Do we want to try to alternate between hybrid and off-site? Where we hold them, how often, and who's going to take ongoing responsibility for the meetings as well as publishing activities. You know, all these things need to be talked through, and I think anybody who's present now, who's hearing these words, who feels that they can make a contribution and help to steer ICAAL forward in future, by all means, you can email me anytime with any comments you'd like to make, and we'd like to invite you to contribute to the discussion in the business meeting on Friday. Okay, that's all my prepared remarks. Now we still have a few minutes before the first talk is scheduled. Is there anything else that anyone would like to raise at this point? No? Okay, well, we have, according to my clock, 8 minutes before we're due to start. So I'm going to, unless we have any discussion, I'm just going to mute myself and go make a cup of tea and then come back before we begin. Okay, great.